Breaking news tonight. Both Atlanta police officers charged for the Rayshard Brooks killing have now turned themselves in. In fact, this was just moments ago. Former officer Garrett Rolfe, who was charged with murder, went to the Fulton County Jail. He is in custody on those 11 charges. He was not granted bond. His former partner, Devin Brosnan, is now out on bond. Now, let's be clear, there has been conflicting statements and outright confusion in the past 24 hours about Officer Brosnan's level of participation in the state's case against Rolfe. In fact, if you saw our opening, I was discussing this briefly with Chuck Todd, who had a big interview about it today. Now, we're going to show you everything so you can make up your own mind. First, what you need to know is the DA, who made waves yesterday by describing him as a state's witness, standing by that, basically doubling down today, and asserting that, yes, Brosnan is basically a state's witness.
That whole discussion is subterfuge away from the real important issues in this case. I will just say that we stick by our comments made on yesterday, but I'm hoping people will turn back to the crux of this issue. And the crux of this issue is that Mr. Brooks is dead for really no valid reason at all.
The comments yesterday, of course, did identify Officer Brosnan as completely being a state's witness. If we all remember in the Mueller case, when we talked to the Mueller probe, we talked about who flips and who makes agreements. That's how it was presented. And here's the other side of the case. You can hear everything. Officer Brosnan and his lawyer speaking out in that newsworthy MSNBC interview today with Chuck Todd and Katie Tur. This was after his release. And the message there was very clearly, they're saying he is not a state's witness and not flipping against his former partner.
Officer, are you going to cooperate with the DA?
I'm looking forward to cooperating with any investigators who are interested in having a conversation about what happened that night.
There seemed to be an implication, Officer Brosnan, that you would testify against Garrett Rolfe. Is that something you have ruled out?
Officer Brosnan is not going to be a, quote, state's witness, which is, kind of TV talk. He's either going to be a witness and describe the facts, or he's going to be sitting next to me at counsel table.
We are fortunate to have a guest now who has worked and led on these issues for a very long time. Congresswoman Karen Bass chairs the Congressional Black Caucus and is a key sponsor of the House Democrats' police reform bill. First of all, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know you are busy.
Yes, thanks for having me on.
I understand the DA's point, and I think we can get to that, which is the bigger headline, the substantive development is that there is a murder case going forward. Having said that, as you know, because you've worked these issues, whether there are witnesses, particularly officers who witnessed what happened, cooperating, and the level of their cooperation makes a big difference over whether you get a conviction or not. I think that's why so many activists care about this. So I'm curious, just big picture, having laid out for our viewers the conflicting accounts, your take.
Well, first of all, I certainly hope that the officer is willing to testify. But, it gets at one of the issues that we try to address in the George Floyd Justice for Policing Act, and that is the duty to intervene. And so if he is going to turn state witness against the other one, then, why didn't he intervene? What did he do? What was his responsibility? We want to make it so that police officers, when they see something going wrong, that they stop it. But you and I know that if you try to do that today, then you will be completely ostracized by your colleagues. I don't know if you're familiar with the case of the African-American woman in New York who did intervene when she saw her white colleague doing a chokehold, and she was afraid that he was going to kill someone. And so she stopped the chokehold. What happened to her? She got fired. And so it's that culture that we're trying to intervene on with the legislation.
Understood. And I think what's helpful for us in tracking this is you're explaining that there is what the individual officers did and what they cooperate with. And then there's the actual, as everyone has said, the system and the rules so that you can get ahead of this and try to prevent these tragic and avoidable incidents. Getting into the case, which, again, the DA, I will say, fact check true when he says there's more to this. They do have other witnesses as well. I want to play, again, this is also new. Michael Perkins was another witness to this shooting. Take a look.
I mean, I don't know where to start. Like, I witnessed the murder. I almost was killed myself. Man. I feel trampled about it. I mean, it's so normal today. It's just happening in different cities. It's just, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know if they're trying to make us get used to it or what, but it's kind of like, it's something normal now.
Congresswoman?
Wow. I mean, his statement, am I supposed to accept this as being the norm? No, he's not. And that's why we have to pass this transformative legislation. Seriously, we worked on it until late last night, and I'm just very concerned because of the tens of thousands of people that are out there protesting. They're not protesting for smoke and mirrors. They're protesting for substantive change. And so now, the challenge is going to be on the Senate. What are they going to do? I am hoping that they pass a version of a bill that then we can go to conference on. But the current bill that is there right now really has taken all of the teeth out of our bill. A lot of the subjects are the same, but if we were to pass today and to have signed what is in the Senate right now, then that young man and what he said could be the case in the sense that nothing significant has changed, and that's why we cannot accept that right now. Transformative change is the name of the day.
Congresswoman Karen Bass, who, as I mentioned, has been a leader and on the foundation of this for so long, I appreciate your views both on the case and the bill. And since we're going to be tracking that action in Congress, I hope you'll come back on the beat.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.